Welcome to Tubbie Talk, where a group of nerdy best friends hop online to talk about everything life, parenthood, gaming, and probably embarrass themselves. Now let's get it started. Welcome back to Tubbie Talk. We are in episode 11 this week, and I'm going to be your host this week, Sierra here. And I am here with
episode 11.
I'm here with my fellow Tubbies. Danny, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, Danny.
I'm here with Danny Kennedy.
I'm Kennedy. Hello.
And Trevor.
Hi, everyone.
Awesome. Well, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. And today we're going to be diving into a very special topic. A couple weeks ago, we talked about postpartum and the journey that is for all parties involved. But this week, we're going to be diving into the part just before postpartum. I don't know if it's called partum, prepartum. I don't know the terminology, but everyone can Google it right now. But we're going to be talking about our birth stories. And I know that each one of them is slightly different, but all very, very cool in themselves. So I'm excited to hear your guys's in more detail. I don't think I've necessarily heard it in full before, so I'm really excited for that and to share. So we are going to start with the oldest child of the four of us. It's not our child. It's your guys' child.
That's the sound of that.
The oldest Tubbie, baby Tubbie, which is Trevor Kennedy's firstborn. So I'll hit the ball over to you guys and take it away.
Oh, man. Oh, just get right into it. It's definitely kind of a roller coaster, in my opinion, for the first one. But anyways, dive in. So the action starts, 3 a.m.? Is it, Trev? Right?
Well, we knew
officially started.
Yeah, officially started, but we kind of knew it was going to be that night. We just didn't know when that night.
Which was nice. So I got to take a shower, prep. We're all packed. And then we had our last little gaming sesh that night. And then I had just dreams of labor and contraction. So it was in and out of sleep. And then by 3 a.m. we were shipping off to the hospital because we lived an hour and a half away from the hospital.
Oh, wow.
So
lots of planning needed to be involved.
So it was okay, once it is consistent, we need to go because we don't know how fast it's going to go.
So I have one question already. How did you know? So first of all, just to clarify, this was a hospital.
Yes.
Correct. And,
yes.
How did you know it was going to be that night?
You
just knew.
I didn't know. My mom was like, "You're gonna have it," but
warm
consistent. Yeah. I could tell it wasn't actual labor, but it was just I was getting enough random contractions where it's oh, there's a high possibility.
And where were you in terms of your due date?
2 days. Well, that night.
Before.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you were a little the night before I woke up at 3 a.m. It was 3 days early. So yeah, we're 2 days early.
Nice.
And then before bed, things were kind of ramping up to where I was uncomfortable, but still nothing's happening yet. So it was just suspicious. So yeah, car ride, hour and a half, nothing to know. Yeah, it's just dark. No one's on the highway. I remember Trevor calling the hospital, the phone, letting them know we're on our way. And he's like, she's having, and the nurse is
Thanks.
Contractions. Yeah.
I don't remember
the
that.
nurse is like, all right, guys, prep for this one. It's going to be a rough night.
Danny,
do you have a question?
This is a high five. Yes, not a high this was sorry, raising a hand for the question, not a high five. What would have you done if you got pulled over for speeding on the way to the hospital?
I really wasn't going that fast. I was probably going a few miles over the speed limit.
I think I would have milked a contraction.
I would have too.
It's so intense. The baby's coming.
Scream bloody murder.
Yeah, I think I would have milked it a bit. Is there anything else you need to add on that, Trev? Or can I just...
No, I wouldn't have done... We would never have been pulled over. I'm too good. Go ahead.
We passed maybe 2 cars on the highway the whole time.
Nothing happened.
This was at what time?
4 in the morning.
It
3
took
in the
us-
morning.
We left at 3, got there around 4 since there was no traffic and every light was blinking yellow. So it was just, okay, yeah, then we get there. Oh, it's just so annoying. I was thinking about this earlier. And it's the whole check-in process. So I'm like having contractions, walking into the hospital. Then we go into the labor and delivery, like check-in. We have to sit and wait and just having contractions in this lobby area.
Oh my gosh.
And then we like get seen to the back, and so I'm having contractions walking into the back, and then you're in like these little, it's like beds separated by all the like pull around curtains and
It's
stuff.
like when you go to the ER.
Yes.
Like the triage area, kind of crazy.
So now it's approaching like 5 a.m. And so then we're in there waiting, and then I get changed into a hospital gown or whatever, I think, and then they check vitals and stuff, and they're like, your heart rate's kind of elevated. It's like, well, I'm sorry, I'm just like in the process of having a baby, like my bad. And then,
can you calm down?
so annoying. And then, and then they're like trying to get a reading, and I'm like, well, if you go, he likes to hide, so they always find the reading right here, and then she doesn't listen, so she spends like 2 minutes trying to find it, and then goes to the spot that I said to go to, and then finds a reading. And then, I feel like that whole part took close to an hour, Trev. We were there for a while.
Like in the room before the room?
Yes, like what I was
it
explaining.
took a little
the
too
curtain
long.
room.
Like we were admitted.
We were the only people in there. Like the doctor took a long time to come. I mean, maybe obviously he was doing other stuff, but so then we get in the room, and then it's like, just start getting
tell
hooked
we
up.
loved the hospital birth, right?
It just wasn't for us. But anyways, continuing on. So then I just start getting hooked up onto everything. Like the doctor that was in wasn't my doctor because it was her weekend off. So it was some other doctor, and then he wanted constant monitoring, even though nothing was wrong with our baby. Mm-hmm. So you've got that band on you, and then they get the whatever it's called, like they stick you in the arm. So if you get any fluids,
the IV,
right? But it's I wasn't like fully hooked up yet.
Oh,
it's
like the connector thing.
Yes. And then, so then I tell them this is the arm where the veins pop more. They don't listen. I get poked probably 5 different times. And they even poked me like right here, right there. I don't.
Yeah.
And essentially, no one could get in. So they had to like bring in a special technician to like use, what was it, Trev? Like some special.
I don't know.
What? To like find the vein, like an MRI thing, to find the vein and then get it. And then it was just like, so that took a long time. And then it was just
like a stud finder for veins.
You got it. And they had to take a little camera and like,
yes, the
try
stud
to find
finder.
Your vein. The stud
finder. That was a
finder.
great analogy. Yes. So then that's done. So now it's just time to labor. Which was really annoying because every time I tried to like move or whatever naturally like labor, like I would disrupt the reading from the band because baby was in such a funny position. So it was like contraction, oh, we lost the reading, readjust, and just like back and forth. And it just was kind of getting to a point where I couldn't move very much, which isn't ideal when you're in pain or discomfort, whatever label you want to put on it. And then I even tried to take a bath, which was shallow and lukewarm because you had to like watch the band, and it's like, oh, this is pointless.
They were like complaining before we even got the bath. Oh, you should do a bath because it's going to get everything wet.
Yeah,
like they were
that's
just
right.
like, they're just not, they didn't listen. It's not helpful.
And
I would have ripped that band right off.
Yeah, it's just not, So it was just,
but when they're
hours.
pressuring you, it's hard to like,
thing.
It's just their policy or whatever it is. I don't know.
And when you're there in a hospital, it's like the first time. I'm not saying this happens for all first timers, but it's like it's first time. I mean, we were tired. It's a lot going on, and I'm not fully, like, I'm in a different mental state. And then you're also trusting these people that deliver like hundreds of babies or thousands of babies in a year. So you think like, you know, but it's just a lot of that. And then it gets just to the point where I can't, it's just so uncomfortable. I can't labor normally. And I just remember I was at a point where I was just sitting in a bed, not moving, because we had to keep the reading going. And I was so exhausted from just all of this. Because at this point it was becoming pain because I couldn't work through it in any way. I was like in and out of like consciousness in the sense I was like so exhausted, not like the pain was so intense I like fainted. It was just I was so tired. And then I was like I can't do this anymore. And so ordered an epidural, which took like an hour to get there.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what time of day it is at this
Sounds
point.
like you ordered food. Just ordered an epidural. Called them up.
DoorDash that. And then like the nurse that was with us, she was in the beginning, I hate pain, so I'll always get the epidural. So it's like there's also that, like there's no, like it's just Trevor doing his best there. Like there's just no village to support me in that situation aside from Trevor, who's doing the best he can, and like he's breaking his thumbs trying to do pressure points. But anyway, so an hour passes, epidural comes in, and then that went fine. And then so I'm stuck, and then they don't turn it on.
So it didn't go fine.
I'm saying the insertion, right? Like, no.
It got attached just fine. But like an hour goes by, and then a nurse comes back and it's like, oh, we didn't turn it on.
Which I don't know what was happening because the contractions were as painful, but I still felt them. I was like, oh,
did you think that it was working? You're like, well,
like it helped
like placebo?
A little bit. Maybe
that's what it was. So crazy that they just forgot to turn it on.
I guess. Yeah. And then so then I'm able to get, I know. I don't even know. So then I'm able to get sleep, which is really the only benefit of an epidural, at least for me. Then Trevor gets some rest. Trevor eats. And then I think it's just kind of like that until like 4:35-ish starts rolling around. And then that's when it's like we start pushing or I start pushing. And then before that, I was like, I don't want to give birth on my back, and I want to breathe this way. And it's called like moo breathing. So to control your breath, I wasn't mooing, but that to give you that like visual, like if you moo, you're controlling your breath. It's not like, it's more controlled. And then, so they had me do that, and they're like, well, it looks like you're, stretching everything down there, which in theory you think is good, but then they made it sound like it was too slow, which I didn't know at the time, but hospitals do have like a timer. Like that's not a natural timer. But anyways, so that's too slow. So I can't do that. And then, so I'm like trying to get like, do this stuff on my side. And then eventually that's not good enough. So it just gets down to where there's like 3 or 4 nurses and then the doctor. And I end up on my back and then doing this, hold your breath and push for 10 seconds, which I could barely even do. And they're like, I would break at 8 seconds and want air. And they're like, well, every time you do that, the baby goes back in. And then, so I was like, geez, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm trying here. And then,
goodness.
And then, I didn't feel any pain, but I could feel stuff happening down there as baby was coming out. And then, they offered for me to look. They had some mirror on the ceiling. I was like, no, I'm fine. They're like, and then they don't take a no. They're like, what do you mean? Are you sure? No, I'm really okay. I don't need to see it this time. Well, it helps a lot of women. Okay, I really don't care about like the state where I don't, like this is not going at all I wanted to go. And then, baby came out. And this is like, I have such mixed emotions, and I never will judge, but I don't want to shame any women that do this because every
Mhm.
birth, you know, everyone does it their own way, what they're comfortable with, what works for them. And this just wasn't how it was supposed to work for me. But, you know, we all left alive, which is good. But anyways, so baby comes out, takes a good chunk of time for him to really cry or anything. And I think later, I think it was, think about it, the result of the epidural, because babies can come out affected by the drug. So he was more, you know, tired and slow, you know, got him breathing or, you know, crying, all that stuff. And then,
How long, can I ask, was it?
I mean, under a minute, but it wasn't like an
Okay.
immediate, you know, it was like, we have some videos, like maybe 30, I don't know if 30 seconds is too long, but definitely I feel like it was a little longer. Hi, Kat.
Were the nurses like worried at all?
No.
One might have been, but they're going to keep that, you know, they were all pretty just normal. Also, just throwing it out there for anyone who has had it or is gonna, you know, might have it. I also had a little number 2 movement, totally normal. But I just remember hearing the doctor, "Can you wipe that up real quick?" And the nurse came in just so
I distinctly remember that too for some reason.
and I
Wipe
remember
that up.
smelling it, but I was like, okay, I just need to focus. Like, we're pushing here.
That's so funny. At least they didn't make you feel weird about that. So that's good.
Yes. And it's such a normal thing that happens.
Yeah,
so much is going
so
on.
normal.
Stuff's coming out.
You're pushing really hard.
Now,
Let's
it's
just
not
say
normal
that.
when I pooped in my pants, they got concerned.
They were like,
"This
you-
is. Can you wipe that
Can you
up?
wipe
please?"
Wipe that up real quick.
the nurse is like, no, I simply cannot do that, actually.
Wipe, please. They're like, "What are you talking about?"
They're like, she didn't go. Oh.
That wasn't me.
That's so good.
Man. And then, let's see, it's all just kind of a blur there, but, you know, tried to nurse, and I feel like I got 5 seconds to try to get this baby to latch, and the nurse said, "Nope," and took him away, and then
What?
brought him over by Trevor. And then I had to hand compress colostrum out, and then Trevor, I don't remember if it was off your finger you fed him, but essentially it just wasn't the normal routine. And so that's happening, and then, you know, getting cleaned up, stuff taken out on my back, and then we wheel away off into the recovery room, and then there were COVID regulations then, and so we could only see so much family at a time. I think it was like 2 people at a time.
It's like 2 people at a time.
And I don't know if Trevor could eat. I think it was just 3 people total in the room.
Yeah.
So Trevor had to leave.
I was going to say it's kind of nice because then, like, it controls the amount of people, but, like, if you have to leave, that's dumb.
Yeah. I was included in the 3.
Yeah. And then I remember eating a lukewarm chicken sandwich, but it was the best dang thing I ate that whole day. So I was so tired and hungry.
Yeah.
So the baby was born at like 5:03 p.m.
Okay.
So I think I start eating a proper meal around 6-ish by it all. And then just, I mean, that was the birth part. I won't go too into detail, but just, we were there like longer in the hospital than we thought we were going to be. And then it just was like, one nurse was concerned about how much colostrum baby was going to get, and then recommended supplementing formula. And it just, I was so scared of it disrupting just the natural breastfeeding process. Just stressed the whole time. Just, so yeah, that was number 1.
Yay!
And just, unfortunately, it wasn't, obviously not every hospital birth is like that, which is great, but it just didn't really work out in our favor.
I have a question. So, obviously, like you said, there's no judgment on what anyone decides to do. Like, it's your baby, but I think it's important to always, like, if I don't know, not important in the sense that it should be your job, but like, did you know like what was going to happen in the hospital, or did you just kind of go in like trusting them and like trusting like, oh, this will be very normal and cool? Like, did you know about the monitor? Did you know you weren't going to be able to be on your side? Like, or were you like blindsided by that kind of stuff?
It was a combo of both. And because I didn't find out till we were like mostly checked in that my doctor wasn't in and I was going to be seen by a different doctor. And so we had a plan with my original doctor. Like, she was against back birth. She was like, we're going to do all fours. I don't do water births, but baths are great. Like, she was aligned with what I was already wanting. And then this doctor was just on her back.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. And
So,
then
I'm also not a fan of men doctors for this, and we got a dude instead of a woman, and no offense I guess to men, but you guys will never feel what that's like, and I just don't think you have any understanding. So like that I'm triggered by the whole thing. I'll be just straightforward. It really upsets me because I feel like maybe I even failed like Kennedy in a lot of ways, because we had taken like some trainings of, obviously it's our first kid, so there's like a lot of training we did and reading we did to try to be prepared. It's just, I don't know, I think the hospitals were just not, it wasn't it. I didn't like anyone there. I'm triggered. I'm disappointed in myself. And it was just a horrible experience overall. Kennedy's sugarcoating it a little bit, but they really did not listen to us at all. And like everyone's saying, don't want to be respectful. Yeah, great. If you have a good hospital and it worked well for you, wonderful. We did not. And it really, it is unfortunate.
Yeah. And I will say that like, I've just heard that story over and over and over again. Like the exact things that you're saying. And like, we'll go into our story a little later, but like that's, I mean, I'm very grateful to have heard a lot of stories like yours, because that was one of the reasons I didn't want to do the hospital. And like, like you said, some people have good experiences. Like, and I have a friend who did around the same time as me and like was glad that happened. But like, I was like, I have just heard exactly the same things like over and over again. And it's like, it sucks that some people don't know that going in, because it's like, if you knew, maybe like you wouldn't have done it. I don't know.
I know.
It just
and
sucks,
I feel
like you have to experience it to know. But anyways,
I feel like I heard all of the stories after that happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It was, for like example, one thing, right, is I was very clear with everyone, doctor, nurses, that I wanted to be the support for Kennedy and stay up by her head. And then all of a sudden I'm holding her leg and I'm like helping. And that's fine. I'm glad I did. But it's also like, you didn't, nothing. They didn't listen.
Like, what if he
all.
fainted? Like, you don't need
it's
that
my first time too. I'm figuring this all out.
It's also not your literal job to like help her in that specific way. Like, anyway, yeah, I'm sorry that you guys experienced that, because that's not like
it's
a
hard.
good thing.
It's definitely been like
in your mouth.
Yeah.
Yes, but I don't know. I mean, it's just, it sucks, and maybe every year it'll get better, and it kind of is. But like, the only takeaway I can have right now is like, well, like we both left alive, and like, you know, that's like, you know, we're healthy and live,
which is like such a low bar.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It is a very low bar.
But I literally feel like sometimes, I don't know, I don't want to be too controversial, but I think they think that's what their job is. They're like, well, you're fine. That's our job.
I guess.
They're not actually thinking about your experience. It's not their like job in their head. Does that make sense? Yeah. Sometimes.
It's like
I
different
don't want to speak
priorities.
for all doctors everywhere.
Right. Yes.
From what I've heard, and it sounds like your hospital.
Yeah.
Right. And here's the other thing, like, forget the physical, the emotional, and all that too. We have pretty decent insurance through my work. And this was a few $1,000s more expensive with insurance than our second birth that we didn't do at a hospital, that we had to pay for out of pocket.
That's so wild.
So on top of like we're paying the hospital's electricity bill for the month, it's cheaper to just not pay the hospital bill with insurance. Like that just to me blows my mind that someone with no insurance, that they won't accept it. is cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean that goes into insurance a little bit. Insurance is also a different issue, but like,
Don't
we
get
don't
me
even
started.
go into it
Greatest.
again.
Don't another time.
How did you feel like you failed her or let her down or were disappointed? I don't know what exactly you said, but
I mean, all the above. Like, I mean, yeah, all the above. But like, if I could have been like, no, we are taking a bath, and no, she doesn't need that right now, and no, we're not doing back labor, and no, get me a new doctor that's a female. Like that, I think helped in the sense that maybe more things than just living came out the right way.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's probably it. And no, we're going to be moving around. I'm going to actually come walk over past your nurse desk with her, just have her scream in your ear because you're telling her to sit down. Like if I had that experience, then I wouldn't have as many regrets.
Yeah. But it's also hard to do that. And you didn't know that you were going to have to be that,
Yes.
like, advocating. Like, you were, of course, would have anyway, but like, you thought you were going to have a doctor who also agreed with you. Plus, like,
Right.
it's just a lot to go through.
Yes.
Watching your wife, like, be in pain, first of all, and like, not mentally preparing. Like, there's people that mentally prepare and still it's hard in the moment to actually cause confrontation. So don't beat yourself up. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that about wraps up that.
All right. Well, we can transition to our.
That's on such a high note. Yeah.
It's okay. You guys have a redemptive
Yeah.
one.
and on the good note, yeah.
I mean, it's like the last thing I'll say, it's in a way nice, I guess is the only word I can find for it. Like I can just speak from experience.
Yeah,
like I'm not
that's
out
true.
like preaching in the streets, no hospitals,
Yeah.
like only midwives, but just like if I ever have the opportunity to like speak with people, I have an experience to share. So,
Yeah.
and then, it's just more information people can use to make decisions. But
Yes,
yeah,
that is a good positive to take away from it.
And by no means am I saying never go to a hospital if it's an
Right.
emergency. Please go to the hospital and have them save your life. Like, if something would have went wrong in our second birth, then yes, we're going to go to the hospital.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
yeah,
Yes, we're not saying that. We're saying our specific experience with the people that helped us was very poor.
Mhm.
Yeah. Good disclaimers there. Totally agree. But yeah, so it's a good segue because basically I had heard story after story of that. And I decided, I think I was about 3 to 4 months pregnant when I decided that I wanted to go with midwife. And one of the factors was that I think we were at the point where like our insurance was an absolute disaster that year. And I didn't have insurance for a good chunk of my pregnancy, which was like honestly fine. Like get insurance if you want it, but also like I don't feel like it was the end of the world for me personally.
Right.
But
Not
yeah,
us.
like if I needed to go to the doctor, I still would have. But like, yeah, it was just like such an interesting time. So anyway, we didn't have insurance, so we went to this midwife, and I was like, she actually took insurance, by the way. So that is a thing.
Nice.
That is a thing that does exist. But I like had found her, I think, online or something, and I was just like, okay, we'll try her out. So we go with her, we do all our prenatals, blah blah blah. And I was pretty late, like past my due date. So due date was July 11th. That came and went. And like you were early, and a couple people I knew had been a little early. So like around like July 4th ish, I was like, could be any day. It wasn't for another 20 days. Finally, we decided to, there's like things you can do to kind of like move things along. So midwife did that, and yeah, we were just at home, and I started to feel some, I would describe them as cramps, but they were really close together. And so I was really confused because I had heard like 1 minute or something like that.
Mhm.
Like,
yeah.
and I was like, this can't be it. It's too close together. And, so I was timing them, but I felt really dumb. Like, I timing them. I was like, this is stupid. Like, this is not it. So I'm like texting the midwife. She's like, yeah, just like keep an eye, like just see what happens. Like, I really appreciated her. She was just like, just basically pretend like it's not happening. And if you can't ignore it anymore, then you know that it's happening. And if you can, then just move on with your life. I was like, great. So I think we were watching like a YouTube video or something, and I was just bouncing on my little ball. And
just a little itty bitty ball.
And we were like, yeah, just going with the flow. And then they started to get longer. And so I moved to the bed. It was around 4 p.m. And so I was just laboring at home. And basically the way our midwife worked was we were told to go to the birth center when it was like active labor, I guess, but she said 6 centimeters, but like we obviously weren't checking that. So
I wasn't peeking. I wasn't measuring tape.
Let me look in there.
I was like, get away from me.
Get away. You go
Is
there.
it the size of my phone?
It starts holding up
Objects. It's about a water bottle.
That's definitely time. It's like Danny's only measure of
Water bottles.
Tissue
water
box.
bottles.
Basically, like she said, when she told Danny, when she like does not want to talk to you anymore and like is not in the room mentally, that's when you need to go.
When she's checked out.
And so we called my mom, because my mom also was there for the birth, which was cool. And so
Very nice, very helpful.
we had her come over around 7 p.m., so 3 hours after the initial cramping, and it was definitely ramping up. So yeah, I was just like laying in bed and had some music on. I think I had Danny read me some Bible verses and stuff, and I was just like getting in the zone. And then yeah, after that, none of that mattered. I was just like, I don't know what's happening. I'm just focusing on what I'm feeling. Like I didn't. Yeah. Anyway, so basically things happen. It's very like progressing. Water breaks at home. And
Question.
Yes.
What was that like? I've never had my water break. It's always broken during pushing.
Oh,
so what is that like?
It felt weird. Like I definitely, I didn't really know like what it was. I think I was like, after it happened, I was like, I think my water broke. But it just happened during a contraction. It just felt kind of like a little pop. And then
Like a water balloon.
literally,
But
yeah.
no like gushing, right?
Like
in
there
the movie.
Well, yeah, kind of. It kind of feels like you like peed.
Okay.
Just to be very candid.
It wasn't too much, to be fair. I feel like hers was kind of mild compared to like what
I
some
was also
people may
laying down,
experience.
so it was kind of hard to tell.
And she's on the bed, so it did soak up a little bit. Like, obviously there were some towels.
We had
but it
towels,
soaked
yeah.
up some, so
The beauty of labor.
Yeah.
Towels.
like in the
liquid.
movies, it's always depicted on like a hard floor.
Yeah.
I'm like, how detailed do I want to be?
Oh, go for it.
Yeah, just go for it.
Yeah. So yeah, water broke. I'm like, Kennedy was so tame. Maybe I should be more tame. Yeah. So it broke at home, and then we knew, like, okay, midwife had said if water breaks, come in. And my mom told me later that she was like, she had like pulled Danny aside and was like, how are we going to get her there? Like, I don't know how we're going to get her in the car. Like, what are we going to do? And and my mom, I think you can attest to this, but I think I heard her multiple times be like, should we go now? Like, I think we should go now. Like throughout the process, like she was ready, like soon, which we probably could have, but I don't know.
I
So
held strong. I said no.
Yeah.
No,
I
she
can't-
stays.
Yeah.
What?
She's not going
So-
anywhere.
Giving birth, hey,
Danny's over there like, I'm going to deliver this baby. It's mine.
He was going to catch her.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So we waited, and there were very clear signs that it was active labor. So we're like, okay, it's time to go. So I had to get changed, which also was like annoying. I would have thought of that before, like, but yeah, I just wanted to be so comfortable. And I was like, I'm at home, like, who cares? So, but I was like, I have to walk outside. Like, I have to put like pants
Just half
on.
naked. I guess
in
I
your
should like clean up a little.
Well, it was literally in like a nightgown. But anyway, if anybody saw me walking the apartment through the apartment,
you to judge.
They would have
formally
understood.
apologize.
Don't
It was like,
apologize. You're having a baby.
yeah, but if they didn't know that, they would have been like, girl is not okay. I mean, I was pregnant, so I guess they probably knew.
Just bad day.
But yeah, so I have also, my contractions were so close together the whole time. I did not have any like
Crazy.
warm up. Like, yeah, walking from the apartment to the car had like 2 contractions. And
Wow.
on all fours. That was like my go-to like position was on all fours.
Second.
I don't mean to laugh.
What's the question?
You just got in the hallways and like on the way to the car, you just all fours just contracted.
Yes,
I love it.
absolutely.
I'm so
What
proud
else
of
was
you.
I gonna do?
No, I
so-
just imagined.
I
It was
know,
like 10
no
p.m.
judgment.
No, that's not what I'm imagining. I'm imagining her just like posted up in the middle of the car, like as it's going, but it just looks like in the middle of the car. Just
No, actually, the car
That's what made me
ride.
tickle.
Definitely a
great.
blessing.
It was.
The car ride.
I really think it was the Lord blessing me because I remember thinking, I don't know how the heck I'm going to get in the car. And
Wow.
right before the car was really rough. But then I got in the car and it was probably like a 10-minute drive. And yeah, I was completely fine. Just nothing. No contractions, no pain.
Wow.
Like, I don't even, like, I was just peaceful. And then right when we got there, immediately contractions again. Doctor was like, all right, your time is up. Back to labor.
Break is over.
And
Pause.
the birthing center that we went to had stairs, like outside. The first thing the midwife said when she came out to meet us, again, contraction on the stairs, all fours.
Yeah.
These like stone stairs. I remember my knees hurt.
So comfortable.
Yeah. And she was like, well, first I think she was like, oh yeah, like good, you're definitely having this
She's
baby,
like, yeah,
right?
good
Like
job.
very soon.
Timing.
She's like, good, glad you came. And then she was like, yeah, one time someone had their baby on these stairs.
No, she pointed
And I
out
was
the
like-
stair. She said they had on that stair.
Oh. And I was like, can we go
Please
inside
no.
like right now? So we went in and it was really good timing. And so, yeah, so I get in there. She did do a check, was like, yeah, you're like well on your way. I think I was like 7 at that point. And then she was like, do you want to get in the bath? And I was like, sure. So we get in the bath. And that's when I think that was probably like the hardest part because it just felt like nothing was happening. Like she had said, if you feel like pushing, you can. She was just like, whenever you feel like pushing, you can, because you're like far enough along. And I kind of took that to mean like permission to push, but I don't think I was ready to push yet. But in my mind, I was like, the sooner I push, the sooner this is over. So I started pushing, I think, too soon. And then I was getting frustrated because like it wasn't working. Danny kind of knew that, but didn't want to say like, oh, you're wrong.
I'm not going to tell you not to push.
Yeah,
Right.
obviously.
Yeah.
So,
That's a hard position. Yeah.
and yeah, I didn't have any music on. And so it was just like silent. And yeah, I definitely wasn't like breathing through. I was not like, yeah, I was definitely loud is what I'll say. And
Nice.
yeah. And there was also a midwife there that I had never met before, which was kind of weird. Like my midwife was there, but there was another one. And I was like, oh, that's weird. But I didn't care. She was fine.
Okay.
Afterward, I was like, what's your name? Who are you?
You saw so much. What's your
She's
name?
like, oh, nice to meet you. I'm like, oh, I'm Sierra. Great to meet you. And so, yeah, that was odd, but luckily I liked her. So
Good.
So I guess that was, I don't know, a couple hours. I do remember saying, because I had learned about the moment of transition in like our birthing class, and I remember like thinking that's going to be the hardest part, and I'm like, that was what I was nervous for.
Mm.
And I remember saying to my midwife, I don't know how I'm going to do transition. Like, how am I going to handle that? Like, it's already been so much. And she was like, oh, you already did. Like, you already did it.
That was
I was like,
years ago.
She's like, you did that at home. You did that before you got here. I was like, oh, got it. This is fine.
Birthing is so easy.
We'll be good. It definitely was not easy, but I was like, okay, it's not going to get like because I remember hearing like, oh, it gets like 10 times worse during transition. I was
that's
like,
the breaking.
And so I was like, oh, okay, I got this.
Yeah.
They did keep having me like move around a lot, which was helpful, but I didn't necessarily want to in the moment. Like they wanted me to walk around, and I was like, like no,
walk,
please.
They wanted you to try to go to the bathroom.
To, like, they did have me go to the bathroom,
see if anything felt more comfortable.
Which it
progressed.
Didn't, but it did help move things along. And then, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if this whole episode is TMI. So if you're not into that, don't listen to this episode, okay?
Like, it's going to have a disclaimer in front.
Great. And so at one point they had me go to the bathroom, and I had a contraction sitting down. And I remember saying like, oh, that felt really productive.
Nice.
And everybody laughed at me. And I was like, why are you laughing? This is what we want. I was like, I'm trying to get it done. Like, yeah.
This is the goal.
Everyone was like, I was like,
you silly little thing.
Yeah.
What a comedian.
So from there, the midwife was like, okay, well, let's get you to like the bed and you can actually start pushing. So we go. And again, all fours was my fave.
Nice.
And so I was doing that. But again, I think at some point they were saying, because they were constantly checking the baby's heart rate. So I didn't have obviously any monitors on, but they were every so often like using a Doppler or whatever to check her heart rate. And they were like, yeah, she's getting a little stressed. So they wanted me to move. So I did. And I was on my side, basically just flip-flopping like a little rotisserie chicken, just rotating around. And
I'm sure you're nice and sweaty too, just like a greasy chicken.
Danny was getting hungry over there.
They were like, and rotate. I was like,
good looking chicken.
And so what's interesting is similar to you when they wanted you to look at the mirror, they wanted me to do that too. And I was like, why? Like, I don't need to see. Like, I can feel it. And at one point, the midwife like grabbed my hand and had me like feel the baby's head. And I was like, what the heck? Like, this is so weird. Because I think with your first one too, like, you still don't fully comprehend that you're having a baby. Like,
right.
It's really, really just hard to comprehend. And so I think next time it will be a lot, not easier at all, but just like mentally easier.
Yes.
And so anyway, I did that. I was like, okay, weird. But I was like, okay, we're making progress. Push for like another hour, and baby was out. And I felt everything. And I don't know. It wasn't like, it was worth it. I would do it again that same way. Same thing with us. She had little trouble breathing. I don't know how long it was for us.
It was a couple minutes, probably like 2-3 minutes.
She wasn't like not breathing.
It was
though,
like
for 2
very
minutes. It was like
breathing.
She was not crying though. Yeah, so they wanted her to cry. But yeah, it was definitely. Did I miss anything, Danny? Is there anything you would like to add?
I mean, the bath was definitely the hardest part. It felt like it just. Because it was like, you had the faucet, we had turned it off and it was like just dripping water because there was no music. Sarah went in silence. So it was just like.
And then in between me, like screaming.
And then she'd be like, and then. That just felt like an eternity. And like, I was like, okay, I'll struggle through this to like help her progress. But like, that didn't help her that much. Like she said, she was kind of like getting into her own head of like, she's like, I need to push, make progress. When like you just gotta feel it, you just gotta go with the flow, and like like I feel like we should have definitely hopped out of the bath a little bit sooner than we did. Not saying it was completely like wasted time, We made some progress, but like as soon as she got out, went to the bathroom, started moving, like she said she made a joke like, "Oh, this is so productive compared to the bath where we just sat there and just like was in pain for like an hour." Exactly.
Oh gosh. So was it obviously pretty intense, and then it just kind of plateaued when you're in the bath? It just slowed down.
I
Didn't
guess
feel as
so.
productive.
Yeah, it didn't, but it was still like really intense. Like the
It helps the pain though, right?
No.
Like the
for
position,
me,
yes.
it didn't.
Like the weight.
No.
Okay.
For me, it didn't, and I know so many people say that. And additionally, the like pressure point thing you were talking about, everyone swears by that, and it just didn't. It didn't do it for me, and I don't know why. I also did have like back pain throughout the whole thing.
Yes, the back labor.
That may have been why, because my back was just like dying the whole time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I kept asking, this is something that like, I kept asking my midwife, like, how long is left? As if she would know.
Yeah.
And she was like, she just kept saying, you're almost done. You're almost done. You got this. And I was just like, what does that mean? Don't say that if it's not true. So yeah, I wish you would have just, I'm like, give me a timestamp. I wish you would have just said you're progressing or you're doing a great job or something. Not you're almost done. Because to me, almost done is like
so
5 seconds instead of hours. But I will say, the moment the baby comes out, all the pain is gone. You have a moment of bliss, and it's just the best thing ever. So yeah, what a time.
Can I ask, because I can't remember, did you also give birth on all 4?
No. Yeah, baby's heart rate was being stressed in that position, so they had me go on my side. And then the final position was actually on like a birthing stool. So very similar to the toilet, actually.
I mean, gravity works great in that one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Well, you would recommend.
You were progressing really well on all 4. So it was just for some reason, whether it was the way the baby was positioned or how she was pushing, it was like they could tell the baby's heart rate was going up each time she pushed.
And I think it could have been, like I said, so my labor in total was like 7.5 hours, which I've been told is fast for the first one.
Oh, yeah.
And I think not that you have control over it really, but like I was pushing like I was not going with the flow. I was like, get it over with. And I remember like having a moment of like, you need to just push this baby out. Like, you just got to do it.
Wow.
I think I reached a point mentally where I was like, I can't do this for that much longer mentally. So, it needs to end. And this is the only way out. I will say that like, I didn't really once think about the epidural, which is interesting because I thought maybe I would. Like,
could you have it at the birthing center?
No, but
okay.
It was always an option for me to go to the hospital. Like at any point I wanted to. She was like,
we were pretty close, so like 5 minutes away.
She was like, there's no judgment from me. Like it's whatever you want. Like if you're just like, I can't do this, like you have the option. So it was left open, and I didn't want to do it, and I wasn't planning to, even if I wanted it. But it didn't even cross my mind, which is interesting.
Good thing too. Good thing you put me in that position, because you before
your position.
Don't let me do this. I want to do this.
I had told him like, even if I ask for it, don't let me do it.
Yeah.
So what did Danny do that? How was he supportive of you in that? Danny can answer this question too. Like, what do you guys? What helped?
And that's a great question.
Physically, because the pressure points didn't. So physically, mentally, what was your supportive role, Danny? Mine was very physical. Like with Kennedy, I did a lot of like pressure points, massaging, and then mental near the end, I would say a little bit. But again, it was very physical in that sense.
I mean, okay, so I'll say this. I was physical in a different way because the pressure post didn't work. She didn't like, we did a little like role play during the birthing class of like, sometimes too much like contact can annoy someone. So a little bit was good. So like just very gentle, light, almost like petting almost.
And you did try, but I did tell you, I was like,
correct. So she was like just not feeling it. I mean, of course, how are you going to know what you're not going to like until you're in the situation? But like I helped her physically because like I was her like she
My
like
squeezing
yes,
instrument.
like when she got a contraction, she would just like vice grip me to the point where it was like I was the only thing. Like the midwife was helping her as well, and she was holding her hand. I was holding one side. The midwife was
One
holding
time
another
the
hand.
midwife was with me during one. Yeah.
And she was like, never again.
Jared would just like had that contraction, was just like, and she was like, "Ooh,"
But she didn't want to react. And then I heard her quietly ask, like, Danny, like, are you strong? Can you do the next one? Like, she was trying to be nice, but she was like, I can't do that again.
She's like, I just lost a hand.
Yeah,
I
she's
can't.
like,
I can't afford to lose the other one.
No.
That's funny. I will say, like, you did that and you did try to do things, but I think I was very much someone who just wanted to be, like, left alone. Like, I was, like, in my own zone and I didn't want, like, a lot of contact or help or anything. So, which is probably hard for you because you probably wanted to help more. But I just was like,
I'm useless.
like, it's not going to help. I do think if you would have turned music on, I think that would have, like, I wouldn't have minded it, but at the time I didn't
was in the
want
bath
it. So
too, so
that's true. How are you going to do that?
You were in the bath?
yeah. So and then
Yeah, we both got
she was
in.
kind of like I
Wow.
don't want to say I was pinned down, but like
Wild
really, like,
labor, hands being lost.
I was
being
like,
pinned in bathtubs.
You can't move either. If I can't go anywhere, neither can you. Also, you were supposed to catch the baby. So tell them about that. Because
yeah.
there were multiple
failed.
pushes at the end where
I mean, yeah, like I was like, okay, like it's this one, no, and it's this one.
he was
no.
like hands ready.
And then she had to change positions because of the heart rate.
Yeah.
And because of that, because I was ready to catch when she was on all fours, but they had to change positions for the heart rate and just the safety of the baby. And when that happened, she needed more support to push because it was a little bit of a harder. It wasn't as comfortable for her to push it out. So
Yeah, I needed more.
I ended up holding her
emotional
leg
support.
just to like help her, comfort her to get it out, and then.
No, you held my hand.
Your hand, yes. And then, again, because of the squeezing thing.
And
And then I wasn't expecting the push that had happened for it to be the one, so they weren't ready either. So, I mean, they were ready to catch it, but like I wasn't there in time, so.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's a good thing you didn't like try anyway. Like, wait, no, this is my job. Get out of the way.
Get over.
This is my ball.
Midwife.
There's pinning, there was tackling, there was squeezing.
It was a wild time.
It's just a
Very
football game.
physical.
Okay, we still got a whole third story to get through. So I'm going to kick it back over to you guys and tell us about your wonderful experience.
Yes, wonderful. Well, if it wasn't clear, we didn't love the first one. And so
we still love the child, not the process. Very much. We love it very much.
Yeah.
Important detail.
No, so I was like, I need to not do that again. So essentially, also, I want to do a hospital birth first because I knew of midwives and home births and everything, but I have a blood clotting disorder. So I was like, hospital's going to be my safest in case anything goes wrong. But it's like, I gotta see if I can get out of the hospital. So that was a concern at first. So found it was between two midwives, and I'm really happy we chose the one we did. And so found them online, and then you go through, you have your little meeting, and you discuss why do you want to go through us, blah blah blah. And then they had to it's a mom and daughter are like the main heads, and so the mom was gone, and so the daughter had to get the okay to accept me as a patient with my blood clotting disorder. So that was like a week of waiting. I was just like, oh my gosh, please let me in. And then obviously I got let in. So then all normal there. We'll jump to the week of birth because I was late by 4 days, but I'm very much, the baby's going to come when the baby comes. Take your time. That's fine. Just don't go too far. So as it was getting later, I'm kind of sad I didn't get to try it. So, they're recommending all the usual things to get it hopefully rolling, and then
induce labor.
Yes. And then this midwife drink was like tossed around, and the daughter who, we love everyone, but we love the daughter. She was like, every time I was like, I'd make that concoction and drink it because I just couldn't wait. And I was like, oh my gosh, I really want to try this drink.
She's like,
oh my goodness.
She like, and add to that too. She's like, I remember sneaking into the office when my mom
Like,
wasn't
she'd
looking
break
and
in.
making it for me after hours. Like, drink it.
God.
Wait, is it castor oil or
Does it
what's
have
in it?
drugs in it?
No,
What's going on?
yeah, drugs.
I don't
No,
know
I
what
can't
it
remember.
is.
She said it was just a whole gross concoction. I think she compared
Wow.
the taste to like lemon pledge, but I was so intrigued. I was like, I kind of, because I was like, for science, drink it, like, but it never got to that point. But all in
we'll
that
never
week,
know for science.
I know. I'll have to hopefully wait. All that week leading up to it, I was like, oh, this is similar to the first time, because I'd get really strong, like random contractions. And I was like, oh, maybe it'll be tomorrow. Tomorrow would come and then it wouldn't happen. I was like, okay. And so I did that a few times. And like, there were times where the contractions would be really close together too. And there's even one time I called just as a heads up, like, I may or may not be coming in. And they're like, okay, you just let us know. You're like TV on in the background. And then, didn't happen. And then I think the night before it started, I got to sleep. I think I woke up once to some strong contractions, but was able to go back to sleep. So I was able to get good rest. And then that morning, it was definitely strong contractions, but I had so many false ones. I was like, it's just another day. I'm just starting it early. And then so it's just going about my day. And then I had that same mentality because at this point I heard it a few times. If you can work through it, just keep going. Don't stress about it.
But here's the kicker now. We have an older kid and we have to have babysitters.
Right.
And the babysitters are a little bit like 2 hours away.
That's true.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So like I'm kind of sitting here like looking at her like, should I give the go for the babysitter?
You're like,
So
does she look like?
Well, I was
she's
like, we're
gonna-
fine.
The
We're
night
fine.
before we had agreed to like let my parents know to be like, okay, just be ready to
Right.
have your everything packed. And then like that
Yes.
morning I was like, yeah, really maybe start heading for the door. I'm like, and then I was kind of like, yeah, you can go ahead and leave.
Just for the door.
Yeah, just like maybe
standing by the door.
leave.
Yeah.
But go ahead, keep
that's
going.
stressful planning wise.
Yeah.
No, it definitely was ramping up to be that. But, I had breakfast and I was trying to not show too much in front of our one kid at the time. Because he was like, Mom? Like looking at me all like, she seems like in pain or like discomfort. So he was starting to get concerned. But so I was able to eat breakfast and I don't know, maybe this was like 9 or maybe 10 around this point. And then call the midwife and like give another heads up. And then I go and take a long shower. And that like what helped me was standing like what'd you call them? Like high knees. So I'd be kind of at an angle and I'd be doing slow high knees and that felt great.
You're just doing like regular high knees in the shower. Gotta get that cardio
Doing
in.
a workout.
Yeah, so I was taking a shower because I'm very vain, so it's like, oh, I need to be like shaved and everything. So I'm like in there getting prepped, but also like the water was super therapeutic. So nice hot shower on the lower back and then the high knees. And I was in there for like a solid hour and it was great. And then by then babysitters had arrived and then the midwives had also told us if you start getting to a point where you don't want to leave, you need to leave. And I was like, Trevor's like, are you sure you're okay? I'm like, I think it's too early. Like, I can still go. It's fine. Trevor's like, I think we need to start going. And and it was getting really hard to move at that point.
Convincing to get her to go.
Oh my
Like,
goodness.
I was like, we need to go. I'm like, I'll give her another couple, but I'm like, we need to go. Like she was at the point where like she disconnected, right? And my parents are like looking at me too, like, I think she needs to go. I'm like, I know.
You're like,
I
I'm
know
aware.
she needs to go.
Yeah.
We're gonna go.
Wait, so why was that? You just didn't think you were at that point yet, or?
I guess it maybe was from all the like false labor while this was way more intense. Obviously the real thing. I was just
In
like,
denial.
yeah, it's just, I don't know. I just was. I was just like, there's just no way. Like, it's only been like 2 hours. I'm fine. Like, we have so much longer to go. Because, the first one was 14 hours? 15 hour labor?
Between like,
so I'm only
3 to 5,
a couple hours in.
Like 3
so I'm
a.m.
like,
to 5
I knew,
p.m.
I'm like, naturally this one might be faster, but I got time.
Yeah.
But it was getting really hard to do anything.
We were under a minute when I was timing it.
And I was being more vocal. I think that was the kicker. He's like, you're under a minute.
Yeah.
You need to go. But
Like,
it was kind of awkward because I wanted to like be vocal because that helps, it helps distract my mind.
Yeah.
But then there's like grandparents in the room.
I
I'm
would
like,
not have been able to do that.
Yeah, I didn't like
well,
it.
plus, I don't know if this was on your mind, but like, well, I'll just ask you, were you worried about like scaring your older kid or like
at that point,
the noise? You were just like, he'll get over it.
I was more
about the parent. Okay, fair.
Our son will understand. My parents
You're like,
never
I can
will.
explain.
It's just, of course.
He'll forget. They will never forget this.
Which is not true.
No. That's so funny.
So yes, we ship on out. I was even getting to a point where they were trying to say goodbye, and I was just like, oh my gosh, just let me go. I need to go.
Yeah.
And so we go, and then my contractions continued in the car. I didn't have that blessing. So that was also weird because I'm like, I don't want anyone to look over and see me laboring in this car in traffic as we're at stop signs or stoplights and stuff. But
it was during the day.
Yes.
Okay.
This is like, what time is this?
11-ish.
Wow. You're such a morning laborer.
I guess so.
So interesting.
So now we get there, and then the daughter greets us, and she's like, how are you? She gives me a hug, and then, we go upstairs to the room, and like, at this point, they're very strong. I really have to focus on the contractions and working through them, and it just feels like the whole pelvis and like stomach area is just like getting just squeezed real hard. And then she's like, do you want a bath? Do you want to lay down? I was like, I'd love a bath. And so she's like drawing a bath, and Trevor's bringing all of our stuff in because we're anticipating a night over. And then she's doing pressure points, which were like really strong. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like too much pressure to combat the pressure. Then
I get music going too.
We have music going, and then
they have scents there too, so it's really set the scene.
Yes. And then so bath is ready, and that was like just bliss. Water helped me. It was a very comforting little warm bubble to be in, and I think it helped relieve some of the pressure. And it was just, it's interesting thinking in hindsight, like there's like 3 midwives total now in this room, like 1 for charts, the mom and the daughter. And I'm just laboring in front of all of them, just like groaning and just whatever else. And so that was, I didn't notice in the moment, but just later thinking about it. And then I don't know how long it even goes for.
Not even an hour.
And
we're not even there an hour.
And then, they're like, let us know if you want to be checked. And I was like, no, I'm fine. I'll just like, again, I have a long way to go. Yeah. And then I think at some point, one of the midwives whispers to you, Trev, like, I feel like she's ready or something like that.
I forget what I said. I asked them to check you. I was like, can we just check her? Because I just need to know where we're at. So... And they check her, and they're like, oh, yeah, we're real close.
It was literally, do you want me to check? Because after I heard that, I was like, yeah. And then she checks, and then she's like, well, you can start pushing whenever you want. So it wasn't real close. It was like go time kind of a thing. And so she's like, whenever you feel a contraction, just push with it. And then, oh my gosh, wait, right? Like around that time. Okay, sorry. No, she was like, so she checks and she's like, do you want to feel? And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, do you want to feel her baby's head? And so just up the way, like I could feel baby in the canal. And I was like, whoa. And then she's like, you can start pushing whenever you feel like it. And then wasn't even, within a half hour?
Half hour pushing, you were in the tub. It was we had a water birth, and I was kind of like behind her head. I don't even know my hands. I feel like I was like holding her somehow.
Under my armpits, almost kind of
I was
thing.
like headlocked her, just got her in there, and then but yeah, it was like 30 minutes.
Dang.
It was quick.
I have heard second babies are like so fast.
Right.
So I'm like nervous for that.
No. Oh, yeah, that'll be interesting. But it was like, I remember saying at one point, man, I really could I feel like taking such a big dump. And then it's just like, gotta stay his head. And then like when head came out, I was like, oh man, I just ripped from like top to bottom. It's just like, and so the midwife, because I like panicked for a second because it was like really intense.
Like ring of fire, I think they call it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Did you felt like you tore or you did?
I did not tear, but it felt like I was tearing. I was like, well, my butthole and everything else is just one opening.
One hole. Oh God.
I was like, it is what it is.
I love that you just immediately accepted it. You were just like, well,
there's nothing I could do.
This is my life.
But no, and then, so that like kind of spooked me because this was also my first time really feeling it. And so she had me cough, which kind of helped bring it all back under control and like slow down him just shooting out.
How does coughing help?
I don't know.
I think it takes your mind off of the pushing because you're thinking, okay, I have to cough. And it's also gently stretching down there because there's some movement.
There's a little pressure, yeah.
Think of like when men go to the physicals, Danny, and we have to turn our head and cough. Same principle.
You have to turn your another.
Danny's like, what?
Danny, do you know what I'm talking about? Okay, all right.
I thought I was older than you. This is like Joey figuring out his tailor is manhandling him.
Okay, that's literally the same friends. That's because they say, well, what about, because Joey comes over to Chandler and is like, what about the doctor? He's like, that's okay. That is what I'm talking about.
That's so funny.
So then he comes out, he had the cord wrapped once, I think. So she was just like, just super quick, unraveled him. And then he was on me and then he cried within like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And then, no tearing. And I forgot to mention, with the first one, it was a 2nd degree. So quite a nice difference.
Mm-hmm.
And then just got out and they made really delicious food. They made like chili and cornbread and some dessert. And like they
went and got us coffee from our favorite coffee stand that's like right down the road.
Amazing.
It was really good. And I brought snacks. So I had these super delicious lactation cookies. I was just the food is always the best.
I was not hungry right afterwards, to be honest with you. I was like,
starving.
No. Although I did tell Danny the one thing that I wanted was orange juice after birth, and he forgot to bring it.
Danny,
and to this
had
day,
that.
Because we watched a video before this like birth video, and in the video, the girl like takes a sip of orange juice. She's like, "This is the best thing I've ever had." And the husband takes a sip, and he's like, "It's okay, it's alright, like it's fine." And I was like, "I need to know what orange juice tastes like."
At this moment,
don't know.
Oh my
at
gosh!
This point. But that's okay.
We'll just have to have another one
for the next one.
Another reason for the next.
Yep. Gotta find out.
But no,
that's
I think
really cool though.
The big difference with this one was I could move so much. Even in the tub, I was like, because I didn't know where baby was at. So I was like, I need to bring my knees together to like open, to allow baby to descend. But just moving helped so much. Like just, oh my gosh, I can't, like movement is like such a key to progress labor. Do you have any closing notes on that, Trev? I'm trying to think of
I mean, it was so easy compared to the first. I tell you what, we could have, if it was always like that, we could have such a big family. So easy. It was done in like an hour. Like, there was a lot of lead up, right? A little bit of lead up. She took a long shower. She didn't get her there. It's like 15-minute drive from where we're at now.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, it was there. I got like loaded like there, and then she like the doctor helped her, and then music was on. We're like we kind of sat for like maybe 5-10 minutes, I felt like. And then we got in the tub, and then I just helped. And then the doctor really, which was really cool about this, is like the midwife was able to like be the coach that I wish I could be in that sense. Like, because like there was
she
like,
knows what she's doing.
She knows what she's doing. And so like that was really cool. I'm like, I'm so thankful you're there. Like I got emotional at both my kids' birth. Obviously, what was weird for me is like, because there was a water birth. Like, so I'm sitting there like, how is this gonna work? Are they gonna try to breathe and just get filled with water? Like, and like I think the midwife looked at me and like knew I was like processing.
Yeah.
And they're like, so they're just in liquid. So they just shared. It's like, so they're just in liquid in there. And so they're not going to try to get the first breath.
It's liquid to liquid.
Yeah. Out of liquid. I was like, okay, good.
Yeah.
Good to know. Because like the head, because like this time I could see from my position a little bit more. So like the head was kind of like staying there for a while in the water. I'm like, we got to get him out.
Like he's trying to breathe.
He's just drinking water right now.
He's like, I was so thirsty.
And so then, and it went really good. Like, and then the cool thing is like, yeah, the food was good, coffee, but because the recovery was just quick, we went home same day. We were home by like 5 or 6.
We were at home, like, the only reason we had to stay for a while is because I needed stitches, but if we didn't, and even still, we were home within like 4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor midwives, though. There was 3 babies that day, and we were number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had a scare right after ours was born, before stitches. Midwife gets a call, and she's like, we have to start prepping the other room. Like, someone might be here. Like, just so you know. I was like, well, I'm done. I don't care. Like, I'm see ya. Feel bad for the other girl who doesn't get the nice room, but it ended up being a false alarm. But yeah, it was like crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Brutal.
Gosh, what a wild job. But I'm so grateful for them. So
yeah.
Wow. Well, what a journey we've all been on through all these births. And yeah, I hope this episode was informative. And if anybody has any other questions or experiences, feel free to leave them in the comments. And
yes.
Yeah. I don't know. Does anyone have any closing thoughts or?
Women are incredible.
Thank you.
Thanks. Well, you guys did great too.
Yeah, our job
Thanks
was
for
difficult.
being there.
Oh.
I was driving.
You gave me a high five.
For driving. Designated driver.
Can we get a high five for all the men out there? All those dads.
No, but seriously grateful for you as well. So,
no, I
anyways,
think I just have one closing note. I would just say, no matter what you plan on doing, just do your research and just really know what you want, and don't ever be scared to communicate it. So in some instances you might have to fight more for it, which isn't fair, but just know what you want. And unless there's like a dire emergency, you need to be able to have what you want. Honestly. Yeah. That's my closing note.
I will say on the insurance side too, our midwife, I didn't realize they were going to, but after everything, like I was able to put it in and I got like almost 50% back.
Yeah.
So it was way cheaper.
So it was like so cheap compared to the, I love those finances. Finance bro.
I think my only advice would be, regardless of what you're doing or what's happening, just to be comfortable with being flexible, because, there's so many variables and things can change, and don't have like a set thing in stone. You're going to be disappointed at some point, it's not like you can plan for every single scenario that happens. So just be flexible and be ready to, just enjoy the baby however it comes out.
Go with the flow. That's your phrase.
Get all your gaming in before baby, because it slows down.
Yes, a bit. Yeah. Well, thanks everyone for sharing, being open, and hope everyone enjoyed this parenting focus episode. We will catch you guys next time with something probably a lot more lighthearted. Bye.
Bye.
Or scary. No,
Bye.
see you later, everyone. Bye-bye.
Hey, Sierra here. Thanks so much for listening. If you made it this far into the episode, you're definitely one of the good ones. So please give us a follow on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and subscribe to our show wherever you listen, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Hope you have a great week. Catch you next time.